like, world peace for everyone. That's a beautiful idea. Like I said that 4 or 5 times already. But a lot of us have a much more fundamental, basic purpose that we have to figure out. And that is to be able to not just survive every day, but to find a deeper meaning in life other than just fighting for survival. And what I'm getting into here is this. How, if you're at that really, really low level where you're really just thinking that I can't be thinking about stuff like this. I mean, I got to figure out how I'm going to get my next meal. I got to figure out how I'm going to feed my baby. Well, here's a couple things you can do. If your choices are that you can quit, you can complain, you can make excuses, you can get angry, you can cry, you can throw a tantrum, you can just basically look at what's happening to you, be overwhelmed by it, not feel like you can ever get out, or you can do this. You can roll up your sleeves, you can make up your mind, you can accept where you are, accept where you're at, and you can decide to win. And then what do? You do the 4 things that Napoleon Hill said. You now know what you want. You want it so bad. And then you do a plan, and then you just start at it and never quit. When Napoleon Hill wrote the book Think and Grow Rich over a 20-year period, one of the most dramatic things that I got out of that book when I read this book over 45 years ago was he interviewed 500 of the most successful people in America in all the different walks: politics, business, science, the arts, sports, religion, a cross-section of people that Andrew Carnegie gave him the introduction. And what he learned that almost without exception of the 500 people that were the most successful people in America, every one of them experienced their worst setback in life immediately preceding their greatest success that the world knows them for, where they never look back. And here's how it happened for them. They were at the bottom of the barrel. Life had beat them to death almost. Life had punished them. They were in the bottom of the barrel of life. And that's when they finally got stripped of everything except for who they really are. And they all had the same experience, which was they said, I will never, ever let life do this to me again. And so think about wherever you're at right now with what's going on in your life and whether or not you are ready to quit or to move forward and succeed. Life's a learning experience that we all have to just learn from our experiences. Thomas Edison, 15,000 failures. He learned from every one. There's 1,000 quotes on learning and not losing. So let's go further here. I've got 5 steps here. I got 5 steps here that I want to say to you. If you're at a place where you've been beaten down, you're almost at the bottom of the barrel, or you probably are, then I want to suggest these things. Get a mentor. Find someone who can be there for you, that's a role model, that can influence you. And listen to them, learn from them, emulate them, try to be like them. So that's one, get a mentor, connect with a role model. Hopefully it's the same mentor. Make new friends. Look at who your friends are. Look at the people that are pulling you back. On the last show, I think I said it, but I've been mentoring a gentleman that got out of prison, and he keeps thanking me for being there in his life, and I love him, but I don't feel like I'm doing much for him. And he said, Steve, I want to be like you. I want to live a life like you. I want to be positive. I want to do for other people. I want to be a person that knows what he wants and to keep moving forward. He said, all my role models in life brought me down. They weren't good role models, but I thought they were. So look at who your friends are. Look at your role models. And remember what Jim Stovall taught me. If you're doing something that's not helping you move toward your purpose in life, that's called a distraction. If there's something that's in the middle of your life that's keeping you from moving toward that purpose that you want to do, that main thing, why you're here, stop doing it. It's called a distraction. And so when you start eliminating distractions and get more focused, I used an expression once years ago that goes something like this. I think it's in the Bible. It's like, when I was a child, I thought like a child, and that, when I'm a man or something now, and I need to think like a man. What I'm saying is, there's a time when we all need to stop playing with our childhood toys and take the responsibility of living life as an adult. And so that's an important concept. Do whatever you can to make life better and not cause yourself more problems. Don't be your own worst enemy. And remember this, bad choices have consequences, and it comes mostly in the result is you have lost opportunities. So let me sum up those 5 points again. If you're stuck and you're not moving forward, you don't know how to get out of this place that you're at, get a mentor, connect with a role model, make new friends, positive friends, do whatever you can to make life better and not cause yourself more problems. Don't be your worst enemy. That's all one thing. And remember that bad choices have consequences. You can lose opportunities. Donna, is there anything in anything that I'm talking, should I take a pause or should I keep going?
No, I'd keep going. I had another question. Once you finish this, I just needed you to explain another part of the book when you're ready.
All right, I'll sum this up, but thank you. I'm glad you have a question for me. I remember I did an interview with Gary. I can't remember his last name right this second, with Tom Too Tall Cunningham for the Journey to Success. and he asked me one question, and then about an hour and 20 minutes later, the interview was over, and I said to him afterwards, "Hey, I'm sorry I didn't give you a chance to ask any questions." He goes, "I didn't need to, Steve. You just kept going with what I wanted you to talk about." So,
well, I was kind of expecting it to go this way.
Well, I appreciate that. When I interview you the next time, you can talk and I won't interrupt you. Yeah. Okay. But after you go through these kind of thinking that I'm trying to give you, and remember, I'm trying to gear this to the everyday person who's just having a hard time in life, that's not thinking about, raising money for a charity because they don't have money to feed their kids. That's the type of thing I'm saying. Obviously, raising money for a charity is a wonderful thing for so many good causes that need money. But if you're not feeding your family and you're out there raising money for a charity, then that could turn out real good for you. You might meet some people that get to know you, and then they end up giving you an opportunity and say, "I like you." And in other words, doing for others will always get you out of your jam sometimes. But remember, I understand that some people just can't think at this level when they're so down and fighting so much. So let me say this. If you're still stuck, what else can you do? One is do one productive thing. Get something done. I've had a personal habit my whole life to where when I'm overwhelmed by all the things that are hitting me, all the stresses of life, and I look around and see my desk has not been filed in 4 or 5 months because I got so many projects that I just go from one to another and my filing gets behind. When I'm really starting to get to where I'm overwhelmed by things, I like to take a step back and just get one thing completed. That will give you a feeling of accomplishment. Let me go a little further. When you're down and tired, exhausted, coming out of a difficult period where life's been a real fight, remember that when you're in a negative frame of mind, you will gravitate to negative decisions. You'll feel defeated. So take a break. Do something fun, something relaxing, something satisfying. Pay a bill, cut the grass, play basketball, take a walk, go to the beach, call a friend, let yourself recharge, then go back to the task at hand with a renewed attitude, a new perspective. And that's kind of like an artistic frame of mind that we all should have, is don't try to produce if you're just not in a creative frame of mind. So, it always goes back to the mind. You need to get your mind thinking, creative. Donna, on a show that we did a couple times ago, we talked about a Jim Stovall reading on resilience. And the thing that you liked about it the most, you came back and on the next show and you talked about reflecting, that you've got to constantly live life and reflect on what you're doing so that you can sort of pay attention to who you are and what you're doing, and always just review yourself. Just review yourself. That's one of the things about Napoleon Hill says. The best time to start is now. And when you make a plan, this is critical. I'm going to slow down and say this in a much more relaxed way. It's important that you have a plan, but remember this, the plan that you start on can be a totally incorrect, wrong plan, but that's okay. You can always modify it and change it. Any direction that you're going on, you can stop and change it, shift gears. But it's like I said about my business partner's son. If you're not thinking, if you're not writing it down, if you're not putting that concentration into what it is that you think you want to do, you're not getting deep enough into your mind. You don't have your mind working for you. And so what's important is to start, because once the mind starts, it will start getting new inputs from all over the place. You'll all of a sudden find a new book, a new article, somebody else in a conversation. In other words, you need to start. Use that brain. Napoleon Hill said in the interview on Definite Purpose today, he said that the biggest sin of mankind that he believes is that most people do not use the greatest gift that they were bestowed with, which is their mind, their brain. He said that they're just letting it be too idle. And so we don't get off work and then just stop using our brain. So what do you think about that stuff?
Well, that kind of brings me to the question. I think you sort of answered it, the definiteness of purpose versus focus. I mean, how do you explain that?
Okay. So Napoleon Hill has 17 principles of success, and the first one is definite of purpose. And he's got the first 5 of the 17 are called the major principles, and then the minor ones after that. And the definite of purpose is 1, and applied faith is like number 4 or 5, depending on which list that you might come across. Going the extra mile is one of them, and using the mastermind group is one of them. And the definite of purpose is always number 1, though. And why? Because it's what we're talking about on this show. If you do not know your purpose, everything else that you're going to do is going to be putting you in the wrong direction. So you can be working hard and have a plan, but if you're not working toward your purpose, you're just wasting your time. Think about that. Think about being totally mixed up and having the wrong goals in life, the wrong purpose that you think you want to go after, and putting together an elaborate plan where you go get all the education that you could possibly get to help you become the person that could go in that direction. And then a year or 2 into it, you realize, I was doing this because other people thought that I should do this. This is what they have in their mind, not mine. So what I'm talking about is I use the word focus as one of my main words, to be focused, to be like laser-like focused on what it is that you're trying to do. So definiteness of purpose is the same idea as knowing your desire. It's really being like those people that were at the bottom of the barrel, that were the greatest people that he interviewed. And that's really knowing what it is and getting so focused that you don't let anything distract you and you go toward it. And so the definiteness of purpose means that you really, really know what it is that you're trying to do here, what you want to work toward. And so you need, and you will, when you have that definiteness of purpose, you will automatically develop a focus that's a laser-like focus that keeps you on track. Does that help talk about definite of purpose and how focus go together? In other words, when you know what you want, you will stay focused on that. You will keep working toward it. You won't let anything get in your way.
Right. No distractions.
No distractions. You eliminate that. So if you're still not able to think that you can move forward because life's too rough on you, let me give you a couple more things that I've made a little list here. Still not moving forward? Your problem could lie in a lack of confidence, in a personal motivation, a lack of belief in yourself, low self-esteem, and an overall failure attitude. You need to recognize that, and you need to do things that will grow your confidence. Part of it might be to get rid of some of the negative friends that you're hanging out with and read a couple good books and start to apply yourself more and give yourself some tasks that you can succeed at so that you can start to build your confidence. Remember this, every single success that you have will build to the next success. So start having some successes. And again, get a mentor that'll help you move in that direction. Start over where you are and begin to form new habits that are not your old patterns. It's all up to you. You're the only one that can decide you want to do this. When you make up your mind and you surround yourself with positive people, that's what we're aiming at here. So, the mastermind group, that's what I think is the key to putting all this together. A lot of people can know their purpose. A lot of people won't know what to do once they figure out what it is. They won't know how to move forward. I think that the reason that the mastermind group is so critical as a tool to be able to achieve your purpose, and that's surrounding yourself with people that genuinely care about you. And what that means, and it's really simple. It's really simple. I don't think that you can achieve anything in life for very long that will be lasting by yourself when you're isolated and only living in a vacuum by yourself. When you are alone and isolated and it's only yourself, you don't have other people that are stimulating you and encouraging you and helping you move toward your goal. One of the greatest successes in life is to have other people want to see you succeed and be willing to give you their time and energies and talents to help you succeed. In developing a mastermind group, I have a whole show on it last year. Just Google my podcast and my radio show and then look up for the Napoleon Hill Mastermind Group. Don Green himself is on the show that day. And so that's the idea, though, is that you can use the talents of other people to come together and develop this synergy. But you have to be able to give something to them also. That's